Yeah. All right. Good morning, everybody. Hey, it is Friday. Welcome to the morning show here on Stock Market TV. Spencer, Steve, JC, Alfonso with you this morning. Fridays are always like jam-packed days for us. First of all, it's Crypto Friday, so we're going to talk about crypto. We're going to be joined by Louis Sykes from ASC Crypto. We're going to be joined by Alfonso, the chart wizard, the chart master from All Star Charts. And today's guest is Michael Nauss, who has not been on the show since he had a kid. So excited to talk to Mike, see what's going on in his world, and how much sleep he is or is not getting. That'll be on about 9:10 or so. I got a couple of charts on my mind. I want to talk about utilities. I'm sure some people in the chat do as well. Speaking of chat, good morning to you all. Her was here nice and early. We got Josh, Phil, Dawson, Mary, Jamil, Ken, Ravi. What's up? How's everyone doing? Good. Okay, excellent. Let's get this on the road here, and here we go.
Oh, what's happening there, folks?
What's up?
Strazza with his bull market shirt on. I like it.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday. Did I miss the joke? What was the joke?
No joke.
Life is the humor. I taught my kids how to say nice to meet you. So they're just walking around. They're 1 year old. They're just walking around going, try to meet everybody. So that's the latest. That's what I got. Did you guys miss me yesterday?
We did.
Yeah? No?
No, we didn't?
How was Anthony? He was cool?
Oh, yeah.
It's great.
He's a
was
man,
a good
right?
interview. You would have liked it. Yeah.
Oh, well.
We'll have him back.
You know, you do what you got to do, right? All right, cool. What time? So fill me in. What time's Louis coming on?
I don't know, 10 minutes.
Nice. Crypto Fridays. I like it. Can we I want to talk about a couple of things. Can we hit that
Yeah.
quickly? All right. So one of the things that stood out to me, guys, we got the doc. One of the things that stood out to me, kind of looking at some charts last night, was the new 52-week highs list. All right, you guys take a look at that recently?
I do.
The only two sectors in the S&P 500 making new 52-week highs yesterday were utilities and consumer staples. Right? One thing I should add to this, industrials are right there too. Right? You notice that, Strazza? Not far away, industrials.
Yeah.
They're right there too. You know, so it's hard to look at this as a defensive rotation with industrials right there also. You feel me?
This is a broadening of participation more than anything, because these are working last 5 days. So is everything else. You know?
Yeah. And then look at the gold miners as well. Gold miners, not an S&P sector, but an industry group, tends to lean, you know, one can say defensive, one can say alternative, right? But certainly not, you know, gold miners are certainly not financials or industrials or technology or some of these other areas that tend to move with the strongest types of markets.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, I still think the back to utilities, that the utilities outperformance here is more bond market than defense. And it would make me feel more cautious, or I would take it as more of a bearish development if staples were leading by this big of a margin, right? The rest of the field. But we're not seeing that yet. Utilities, absolutely. Utilities are up 15%. They're now the best sector over the trailing 3 months.
Let me remind everybody, for those youngsters listening out there, might be new to the market, throughout that 2003, 2007 period, throughout that 2003, 2007 period, monster bull market, first bull market of my career, utilities were a leader that whole time.
Yeah, but that's a little unusual though, right? I know we always point back to that one, but it's not what you should expect.
I think that all of that says is don't overthink the strength in utilities.
Right.
Like just because utilities are doing well doesn't mean the world's coming to an end.
Yeah.
That's what that means to me.
All right. So you guys like basically already answered my question, which was how can it be a bull market if utilities are leading? But okay, never mind.
Yeah, because utilities leading doesn't mean it's not a bull market. Quite the opposite, right? We've seen bull markets in the past where utilities are leading. Let's just do a quick little rundown here. We've got I've got a new setup here that I'm still kind of getting used to. We've got Dow futures up 100 points. You've got NASDAQ futures up 80 points. That's about 0.5%. Bear with me here, guys. S&P futures up 1/3%, 52.50. You got gold futures up 1.5%, pushing 2,400. You've got silver futures up 1.25%, pushing 29 there for the silver. Russell 2000 futures up 40 basis points. Crude oil hanging out at $80, up about 0.5% this morning. You've got the I got to get my act together here. Copper up almost 2%, 466 for the copper. Dollar index futures are flat. Yen down again. And the bond market down again, looking to close below that 116 level. That's a big one. Bitcoin flat, right around 63,250. Ethereum flat, just above 3,000. And just finishing up with those cryptos, of course, we got Solana up almost 4%, 154, hanging in there strong. Total crypto market cap, 2.27 trillion, Spencer Israel.
2.7? Is that what you said?
2.27.
Oh, I was like, what? All right.
Down.
One of our friends was buying the Solana yesterday.
Who was buying the Solana?
I can't say.
Oh, somebody you spoke to is buying the Solana. Thanks. Great story.
Someone you spoke to too. Listen, I have something to say about earnings and your fundamental analysis. JC, we got to talk about this.
My fundamental analysis.
It's not my fundamental analysis.
Talk to me.
And the things I'm about to say, it's because I've been there. I've lived this life. Feel bad for me. You don't decide whether a company beats or misses. You could think it was a good report. The stock should be up, but the market is the only judge here, right? The market
no arguments here.
Whether a company beats or misses. I'm seeing so much stuff from really smart people, excellent fundamental analysts, and it breaks my heart to see, oh, the price action today shouldn't change your opinion. The earnings were great. Only the price action should affect your opinion, really, right? So you don't want to get stuck into that. You don't want to play this game where you're smarter than the market. You'll never win, right? You don't want to look
What does this have to do with me? Am I doing any of these things?
No, but this is just so important. You don't want to look at a report and say, this was good. I know it was good. Look at this big red candle. We sold off 5%. The market's wrong. That's just the easiest, silliest way to lose money.
Right.
There is a built-in psychological desire to have a strong opinion when you're a fundamental analyst. And it has everything to do with the psychology behind sunk cost. Think about this. We spend 3 minutes, we look at a chart. I like it, I don't like it, and then we act. It doesn't matter to us. We don't give a shit about it. You dig into a company, pick, who is it? Datadog. You're going to do a deep dive. You're going to read every one of their annual reports since they came public. You're going to dig through all their balance sheets and their cash flows. You're going to figure it out. If at the end of that 3 or 4 or 5 days, doing all that work, spending time, energy, brain power, you're kind of like, oh, this is fairly priced. That sucks. There's nothing to do here. That's the right thing to do. Then move on to the next one. But it's hard to do.
Yeah.
When you're diving in and you're doing all this work, you're making Excel spreadsheets, you're doing the cash flows, discounted cash flow analysis. You're in. You're invested before you're ever even invested.
It's true.
It's easy to fall in love. It's easy to have such strong opinions and hold so tightly to them.
Because you've done so much work.
Listen to the market. It's really good at telling us when we're wrong. Pay attention. Move on. Don't fall in love. Your opinion really doesn't matter. It's got nothing to do with you. Let the market dictate whether a company's beating, missing, has a good story, positive future, or not. The
You know what's
market's gonna
funny?
let you know, just
Like
listen to
you know
it.
what's funny, Spencer? At first, I thought that he was talking to me, and the more he spoke, I realized this has nothing to do with me.
It might
No,
have more to do with me, but
No,
don't.
no.
This is the other Lebowski. This
It-
is I'm like earnings. I don't even look at the earnings report. What did I do wrong?
I feel so strongly about this. It's
Hold on, you make a good point on the
a
sunk
lot of
cost. I
people
tried to
fall
explain
into
sunk
it.
cost to my wife the other day, and I think she got even more mad at me. So she bought these bar. It's like a workout for women bar. I mean,
Mhm.
when I go to a bar,
oh,
last thing I'm doing is working out.
wait. Like it's like a gym, right?
I don't know what it is, to be honest.
My
It's
wife
called
used to do
bar.
that.
I don't know what it is. It's
Yeah.
called bar, and she hates it. So she bought like these classes because her girlfriend convinced her
Uh-huh.
that they
I
should
know.
go together, and she hates it. So now she's only going because she already bought it. I'm trying to explain to her, if you hate it, don't go. Like, it's a sunk cost. You lost the money no matter what. So now you're gonna make it worse by going to this thing that you don't like to do, right? And like, I couldn't convince her. Sunk cost just wasn't sinking in. So I hear you, Strazza.
Everything that Steve said is right. And the only thing I'll add is that if you're letting the immediate reaction, dictate whether a company, beat or missed, there are things that matter sometimes more than earnings, right? For example, what is the market doing today?
Yep.
The market's getting crushed and you report good earnings. Tough shit. You picked a bad day. Sorry. That is what it is, right? What are the company's peers? Did the company's peers already come out and shit the bed, right? Or say something great? That matters. What is the stock done into the report? That also matters, right?
What about the future? Right. It's all being weighed.
Right.
Somebody mentioned Robinhood. Great 3 months, but what's next? Right? Who knows how? Somebody just mentioned Uber. Yeah, the market reacted negatively to Uber's print right away. I have my levels, right? I'm not changing my decisions based on earnings miss or beat anyway.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not really about the 1 day reaction to me. I'm just seeing so much on Twitter where people are looking at reactions to stocks or looking at stocks that are in downtrends and saying, all these positive things about the fundamental story. And the price action just isn't supporting it at all.
Although sometimes those people can be vindicated days or weeks out, and that's totally fine.
Great.
Right.
Good. I hope they are. And yeah,
Right.
you're right. It's not about that, right? It's you can have your opinions, you could do your fundamental analysis, you could think what you think, but the market has to be on your side. And if the market's disagreeing with you for too long, everybody's time frame is different, right?
Yep.
Everybody's pain points are different. But if the market is telling you you're wrong for too long, you got to listen, right? It's not a trend you want to fight. So
No doubt.
But earnings season has been full of this, right? Which is why it's on my mind. DraftKings, great report. Stock sells off. Uber was a fantastic report. And you're wrong about the guidance. I looked at the guide. It was fine. Uber was a great report. Sells off. I don't know, right? I wouldn't overthink that too much. These earnings reactions are weird. So
I can't tell if Rudy in the chat is trolling or not. He says, "What about manipulation?" We're not even going to entertain that.
Yeah. What about
manipulation?
Yeah.
What about manipulation?
Come on, Rudy, grow up.
We're not even going to. Anyway. Okay.
Sunk cost, JC. Sunk cost is a funny thing for humans. We don't deal. It fucks us up.
I know.
We can't deal with it.
I know. I just learned today that bar has 2 R's in it and an E.
Yeah, my wife used to do that. She used to also complain a lot about it because apparently it's very painful on your legs. So I don't know.
What's even more painful is already having these sunk costs and then continuing to do painful things.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Silly. Let that be a good lesson.
You guys want to do
Shall
some
we?
Crypto Friday? We got
bumper.
We got Louis Sykes.
Ready for Louis.
Do it.
Wow.
Got my fingers on the pulse, avocado and toast, leather seats, jet plane, always ready to go.
Oh,
hey guys,
dog in the house.
Lovely to be joining you on this Friday morning.
Do you cut your hair?
I have not. It's just looking particularly. I think it's just a good hair day.
Good hair day. Having a great hair day there, Lou Dog.
Appreciate it.
So I want you to talk to me about something that I don't already know. What do I know about this old block and chain? The funny money that the kids are playing with these days. By the way, hilarious. Nikki Glazer. I know that not real money in the roast.
That was the best part.
It was so good. It was so good. Louis, Bitcoin stuck below overhead supply, Binance stuck overhead supply, cryptocurrencies in general. When you do the breath measures, you and I were chatting yesterday about market breath, how there's nobody out there doing market breath analysis on cryptocurrencies, and we do. And then I look at that market breath analysis and I see 0 new highs.
Yeah,
So a lot of
exactly.
good that's doing, right? So all of these things I already know. Talk to me about something I don't know.
What's something that you don't know? There's probably not much that you don't know with how many charts you look at, but what's really capturing my interest, and maybe you know this, maybe you don't, you probably do, is the divergence that's taking place between equity markets and Bitcoin at the moment. And so the correlation that exists between
Yes.
growth stocks and Bitcoin has really been sustainable and present over the years. And you get these brief decouplings between the two every once in a while. And whenever I see equity markets rally and Bitcoin kind of churn sideways and drift lower, I'm I almost had the view that Bitcoin's gonna be following equity markets because is Bitcoin gonna follow equity markets or equity markets gonna follow Bitcoin? Look at the size of the two. Equity markets, in the US, what, $102 trillion? Bitcoin, $1 trillion. So it just makes sense that Bitcoin and crypto markets follow equities. And when you look at the strength over of growth stocks, of mega cap tech, Magnificent Seven, no matter which way you slice and dice it, we've actually seen a lot of strength over the last few days and weeks and growth stocks, but we haven't seen that translate into Bitcoin yet. And so, is there a catch-up trade to be made here over the short term? I probably think there is.
I love it, Louis. We were talking about this yesterday. With every new Mag 7 stock that makes new all-time highs, I think we were talking about Amazon yesterday. It's like, well, when is Bitcoin going to go? I really feel strongly it should be in that same group.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we all know this. We've done the math that Bitcoin and crypto markets are just another technology subgroup. And
And
so when you see that decoupling, then
Can we talk about that a little bit, because this is a conclusion that we've come to.
throw up
I believe
46 also, just to show the correlation here.
I believe we're all in agreement here. It took us a while to come to this conclusion, by the way, longer than one would think, as simple as it is now in hindsight, right? Now that
Mhm.
we've already concluded that cryptocurrencies are an industry group within technology, and that's how we should think about it versus being part of software. It's its own thing. Um, can we talk about that? Why we think that?
Yep.
Why we all agree with that?
And so the reason why we all agree on this is because in our process as technical analysts, we follow money flow, we follow reality, we follow market trends. We don't follow opinions and stories and narratives. And so it's very important that we let money flow, not narratives dictate our execution. And so we can see here that Bitcoin isn't trading like gold, it isn't trading like some inflation hedge. It's just trading like another tech stock. And so it's just as simple as that. You look at the correlation that exists between the two and you say, hey, actually, Bitcoin is really just trading like another technology subgroup. And so another good example is, say, medical devices. And so medical devices is a healthcare subgroup that we almost just say is just tech because it trades like a technology stock or mobile
Sometimes it
payments.
hasn't recently in recent years.
Or or like mobile payments, for instance, right? Mobile payments, and financials, we just say that's just another tech group because that it trades more like technology stocks and software stocks compared to the banks. And so it's more of a case of assessing reality, market trends, and correlations as opposed to narratives.
We just lost you there, Louis. What was that?
Yeah, so it's more of a case of just assessing market trends and correlations as
Yeah.
opposed to narratives that can often be present in crypto.
And I also think it's important, just talking specifically about this relationship between big cap tech stocks and Bitcoin. If you throw the chart back up again, you don't want to bet on the correlation coming off for too long, and it already has. Right? It's been, I don't know, I guess January they were pretty strong together, but at least since March, right? So this correlation typically much stronger. You can see on the left-hand side of the chart. I think that reasserts itself. Whether that's today, tomorrow, next week, next month is the question, right?
Yeah.
And in
And I
what
think it's
does it clean itself up?
mhm. And I think it's really quite interesting that you've got this decoupling at the same time that Bitcoin is actually holding support at the moment. Bitcoin's holding that 60K support.
Yeah.
And so if you want to bet on a catch-up trade, that 60K level is actually a really important one.
Yeah. You're saying you could play it right off 60, right? Because that's the
Yeah.
scoop level off the pivot lows.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
So we got the scoop, and then we're getting the retest of that support, and we're holding it.
yeah. I don't love that we're even getting a retest, but it's fine for now. We were
Mhm.
talking about this yesterday.
Yeah.
I'd rather
Spencer,
know
can you
it's-
throw up the new slide 2 here? Louis, I think it's worth mentioning here. You talked about it yesterday. I don't see anybody doing the breadth analysis on cryptocurrency markets like we are. This is some of what we're doing. We're looking at the percentage of tokens that are above their 14-day highs, which is 2 weeks, 30-day highs, which is 1 month, 90-day highs, which is 3 months. Look at that line. It's like it's like somebody dying, right? Like it's like a heartbeat, like in the hospital,
Beep,
right? Beep,
beep.
beep, 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 right?
Oh god.
Isn't that what it looks like?
Exactly. I remember when we first made these breadth charts, and you're like, "Why are you using 14 and 30 and 90?" Because in the stock market, it's
For
like
the
it's
record, I
21
still
and
I
63.
made that mistake last week,
He
so I
forgot.
still screw that up.
Yeah.
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 I
still
forgive
screw
you.
that up. So
But look,
Uh,
I'm
no one's
such a
really
trad guy, bro, Louis. I mean, what do you want from me?
Louis, I mean, wow. I almost think like, should we do 7-day too?
I don't have a problem with a 7-day, but like we're still gonna err on 14 and 30, even if something's popping off on the 7, right?
I feel like 7 is really getting quite messy.
I know.
I feel like 14 is the sweet spot for the short-term momentum.
I think you're right. Are you surprised at just the lack of anything beneath the surface going on?
No, why is that surprising at all?
Bitcoin had a nice run. Stocks are up for like 7 straight days, 8 straight days now, depending on what index you're looking at. So, why can't the altcoins make some new 2-week highs?
Did you just
would
say
think you would see more.
Bitcoin had a nice run? When?
Just scooping back above the pivot lows, right? We've had 3 or 4 positive days of price action. We're getting an expansion in new highs in the stock market. Not sure if you heard. Might be utilities, but
no,
there's
we're
still
not.
an expansion.
We're not getting an expansion of new highs in the stock market. I don't know where you're getting your data.
Oh my god.
I love you guys. You argue like an old married couple. And
What are you talking
Strazza's
about?
just gone out.
Expansion of
He's
new highs in the stock market. Why? Because consumer staples and utilities are the only ones making new highs. You consider that an expansion?
I think Strazza just got too annoyed with you and just left.
I don't know. I don't know where he's getting this expansion in the new highs list. That's just fake news.
Well, I'm getting it from our boy Grant.
No, you're not. There's no expansion in the new highs list. What expansion in new highs list?
Well,
This week we're getting half the amount of new highs that we got in December. So how is that an expansion in new highs?
oh man. All right. Yeah. Of course, if you play with the time frame, you can adjust anything. We're talking about like not since December. New highs greater than new lows.
The new highs list peaked in December, and now we are getting half of those amount of new highs. So to come and tell me that the new highs list is expanding is
Not since December. Not since December. Since like a couple months ago.
That's stupid.
I'm just sitting in the back here. This is really entertaining. You
Stupid.
guys
There's no
keep going.
expansion in new highs in the stock market. There's no expansion in new highs in the crypto market. That's not a coincidence. The stock market is a mess, and the crypto market is a mess, as they should be.
If
Why are
you
we going to pretend it's not?
if you look at it, just not forget December, right? For a second, right? If you look at it more recently than that, There is an expansion of new highs. There is.
No.
Yes. What do you mean no? Yes.
The answer is no. We are all
I
now.
feel like we
dumber for
just
having
need.
to even
I feel
have
like
this conversation.
we need to settle this and just get a chart in here and just see
You
who's
don't have to
right.
settle
who's wrong.
anything. It's free data. We all have the data. There's no expansion in new highs. Not
Oh
in
my
Bitcoin,
God.
not in crypto, not in the S&P 500, not in the New York Stock Exchange, not in the NASDAQ Composite. Maybe some random exchange in Asia has an expansion in new highs. Maybe check out the Shanghai Composite. Maybe
Yeah.
there's some kind of expansion in new highs there. But here in the good old US of A, where we eat fucking hot dogs and drink beer, the answer is no.
Okay. You know what? I have a question.
God.
JC, in your opinion, when does a bull market start? Does it start after the old highs are breached?
No,
Oh, so it starts before that.
I believe so.
Oh, okay. So you're not arbitrarily anchoring the bull market to the old highs to like the peak of the last cycle, which is what you're doing right now.
Nope.
Yes, that's what you're doing right now.
We're still in the same cycle, Spencer.
No, but you're arbitrarily anchoring everything to December, which was the peak of the new highs.
Right? That's right.
Don't anchor to that point.
We are talking about an expansion in new highs. So I looked to see how many new highs we were seeing a few months ago, and are we seeing more than that or less? And the answer is way less.
December was 6 months ago, man.
December was like 4 months ago. And no,
we can't even agree on that. Oh man, I'm getting out of here.
You clowns are ruining Crypto Friday for everyone.
We're not
This
ruining
is
Crypto Friday for everybody.
hilarious.
Friday a week.
I'm just going to say one more thing, and let me just circle
We
back
have
because this is all the same conversation that we're having. Cryptocurrencies we have decided, because we make our own rules around here, right? We make our own rules around here, and all of us actually, believe it or not, agree, for the record, we all agree that cryptocurrencies are not a different asset class. They are not a different sector within the S&P 500. They're not part of software, which we have argued in the past, which I thought was a pretty good argument, but we have now decided officially, right? You heard it right here, right now. We're putting the flag like on the moon, we're putting the flag up and saying that cryptocurrencies are another industry group within tech.
You want me to be a picky bitch about it?
Hold on. Like software, like semiconductors, right? Like computer hardware, right? Those are different industry groups within the sphere of technology. Cryptocurrencies are just one of them. Cryptocurrencies are not the smallest of those industry groups. They are also not the largest of those industry groups. They are just one of the guys or one of the girls.
I'm just watching my parents just argue right now.
Ready?
Nobody's arguing. We're agreeing.
Watch me be able to disagree with everything he says.
Oh, here we go.
You're wrong. They would be in communications. The closest subgroup comp for crypto.
You're probably Strazza's not wrong there. There might even be communications. That's fine.
We consider communications tech, but I would say technically they would fall into communications.
No, I'll give you that one. All right, you got that one. You're probably right. It doesn't really matter, but you're right. I'll give you that one.
It's all
right,
tech.
what else?
Listen, tech is so big now. They need two tech sectors.
No, I'll give you that one. All right, fine. Communications, not tech. Whatever.
All right.
That's all you got? That's the only argument you got?
No, I mean, I want to talk about what altcoins I should be buying right now.
You should be buying.
This is Crypto Friday, guys.
You want to be buying the altcoins that are making 14 and 30-day highs, and it just so happens that there aren't any doing that.
My point is that's depressing.
Depressing for who?
Me.
Here's the chief yellow officer.
Cryptocurrencies are doing what the stock market is doing. Nothing.
No, they're not. No, they're not, sir. There are new highs everywhere in the stock market.
They're not new highs everywhere in the stock market. That's just simply
Chat is on fire right now. Somebody said, if this is a messy market, bring on the mess. Give me more of this mess, because this is one sweet mess to make money in.
It might be in the earlier stages of the next leg higher in this bull market. It would be perfectly normal. During election years with an incumbent president, market tends to bottom in May. So that would be perfectly consistent with all historical measures. I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is the only sectors making new 52-week highs are utilities and consumer staples. I started this show by reiterating that industrials are right there. So you can't argue that it's a defensive rotation into utes and staples if industrials are right there too.
You know,
Right?
I put on my bull market shirt. I try to boost everybody's mood. You know, Louis even loses the black background. Like we're trying to like have good vibes here, and you're just depressing, absolutely depressing. I don't know why you can't get behind this uptrend.
I am so happy. I'm going to a BYOB Italian joint tonight for dinner.
They're the best.
So,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna
All
be
the
eating
wine.
great food.
Mhm.
I'm gonna have some clams oreganata. Woo! They do it nice, these guys. I'm gonna bring a bottle of champagne and I'm gonna bring a bottle of Barolo, and I'm gonna be happy as a clam, happy as a clam. So I don't know who's depressed around here. I'm having a grand old time. Thank you.
Louis, talk to me about this reindeer coin, RNDR.
We've been writing about it to our crypto members. It's
RNDR, talk to me.
It looks
relative strength.
yeah. It looks
I like that segue going from that backering to render token. Thanks for bringing it back on track to Crypto Friday. I feel like we needed that.
I got altcoins on my mind.
Altcoins on my mind, typical for the chief yellow officer of all star charts. Render token, yeah, I'm seeing some people talking about it here in the chat. Relative strength, perfect example of relative strength. We're always looking for relative strength, regardless of the market environment.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you guys think it's sideways or up. I don't know where your guys' heads at, just based on that mess of a conversation. But
Based on
you know,
Strazza,
regardless
tell me
of
that RNDR is making new highs.
regardless of the market environment, we are always looking for relative strength, and that's a good example.
Okay, so I like the render. And then what is this one? It is one of the
It's an AI token.
It is an AI token. Okay. I was hoping for that. Super cool. I like it even more.
Do you have it? You want to throw the chart up? Throw up slide 2.
You know, are you dropping VWAPs on these at the pivot highs, Louis?
Yeah.
That could be a good, yeah. All right, me too. The ones back,
I'm pretty sure you're looking at Solana and dropping some VWAPs there. Again, we need a wrap on the VWAP. That'll be great. I don't know if I could be the guy who could be delivering on that, but you know, we're looking at a lot of these anchored VWAPs and particularly pivoting them to their recent pivot highs. So Solana is a good example. I think Render's just broken out of its anchored VWAP from its high. But this is just a good example of relative strength right here.
yeah.
So Render is 4.4 billion in market capitalization for those keeping score at home. 24th largest token in crypto ranking.
Also,
And what's really interesting is when you zoom out on this, we're actually above the prior cycle highs right here. And so it's a really interesting long-term chart.
yeah.
Above the prior cycle highs, like way back.
It's also
Wait, 2021, not 2017.
Yeah.
very close to record highs relative to Bitcoin too.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I like it. All
I
right,
should
this
show this.
is good.
Show this quickly.
Stop giving them
Here.
all the goods, Louis. Jeez.
Yeah, this is the chart that I think tells that story that everybody's looking at, that everybody's talking about. You know, we looked at the short-term chart. Look at new slide 3, Spencer. And here you're looking at former resistance turning into potential support for RNDR.
Yep, this is the chart right here.
Right. Look at those former highs.
Doesn't
look at
get
that
much
support.
cleaner than that.
Yeah. All right. Shout out RNDR. Right.
Exactly.
This
Thanks,
is a big
Strazza,
one too. This is like
bringing us
this is like
back.
a blue chip in the space.
Yeah, it actually for our weekly power rankings, what I do every week is I draw up a power rankings of the 20 largest cryptocurrencies, and I review their change week to week. And Render token actually made it onto our power rankings. It's actually number 20 on the list now. It climbed up 3 spots last week. So again, it's just a perfect testament to relative strength with the scans that we're running. Render token just qualified, and it's now in our 20 largest cryptocurrencies when we exclude and filter out for stable coins and staked coins.
At least you got to clean out. So if there's anything I'm going to buy, it's going to be that one. You know, I want to see some of these some breadth improvement for sure.
What does tokenomics mean, guys?
It's like the Ponzi scheme of crypto.
Oh.
Right? Like if it's a Ponzi scheme, those are the tokenomics. If it's a deflationary token, if it's an inflationary token, right? Those are the tokenomics. That's how I look at it. Is that right, Louis?
I don't really give a shit about tokenomics. I care about market trends.
Oh, excuse me.
He's been hanging out too
Excuse
long.
me, my Kiwi friend.
Hey, listen, paying any attention to the miners this week? Couple just reported.
Relative
Oh,
strength.
yeah.
Are you going to tell me
Perfect
that they're
example
not
of relative
messes
strength.
too? Are we going to do that again?
Well, we had
I mean-
Mara out with earnings today.
Yeah, it was fine.
Are you going to sit here and tell me that they're not messes?
I mean, they're trading.
You could
They're
trade 'em.
trading at support.
You could trade them. Yeah, I like these levels. That's right, Louis. A lot of
Me
them.
too.
Let me
I'm-
tell you
I'm-
something.
I'm
how
a
happy-
Strazza on
let
this
me
one.
tell you just how happy I am. You tell me that
Let's
coming
do
in
this
here
one
all
then.
depressed. You know how happy I am that I haven't touched these shitty Bitcoin miners in months? Oh, it makes me so happy that I don't have to
I
think
mean,
about
me
it.
too. But now they're scooping higher from these support levels.
All right, we'll see. I got to tell you, I've been sleeping nice, not having to worry about this shit.
We have had at least 3 or 4 winning trades on
I know.
miners.
No, I know. You and Sean have been dilly-dallying with this range. God bless. No
He's
thanks.
unbothered. All right.
No thanks.
All right. Listen, these companies, here's what you have to do with them.
Oh, they're companies now.
Yeah. I worry about 2 things. It's really the cap tables, right? The stock-based comp. That's what you have to look at. Riot, 40% of their sales goes to stock-based comp. That's a problem. You can't own names like this long-term. You want to trade them, trade calls in them all day, go for it. But that's the problem with these companies, right?
Mhm.
You're not getting that from Coinbase and some of the more legit crypto vehicles that we talk about on here. I will say CleanSpark seems to be the good guy in the space.
Yeah.
9% of their sales are going to stock comp.
I think the what you're looking for is the least shitty one. I think is what.
No, I just don't want that funny business, right? Like you don't need. I think Riot was like 70% of their sales is SG&A, stock comp, and then other expenses. It's just really, really crappy stuff going on below the line at some of these places.
Are you saying 40% of their top line is going?
70%,
You
70% of revenues. Yeah,
70% of revenues
40% of
for
revenues. 40% of revenues stock comp for Riot. It's atrocious.
of
Absolutely.
top line, not bottom.
Yeah,
No,
top.
go look.
Really? That's horrific.
Yes, it's very bad. Very
I'm
bad.
a technical analyst, and even I know that that's bad.
They're all high. Even 10% for CleanSpark, it's really 9%. I was looking, is high, but it's far more responsible than its peers. So that's what. And Spencer, we've had this conversation. The cap tables are scary at some of these crypto places, right? So
They are. Speaking of compensation, did you guys see what Andy Jassy got paid last year at Amazon? He paid like $1 million.
That's it, really?
Yeah.
That sucks.
CEO of Amazon made $1 million last year.
why? But they do that stuff where they like don't want to get paid if the stock.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I mean,
Whatever.
thought that was remarkable. Anyway, Guys,
Louis, it was
yeah.
really nice to have you here. Thank you. I appreciate it. The R&DR is that relative strength. I want to talk about something that's actually working. If you guys don't mind.
Wait, yeah, and then I want to bring on our guest.
Perfect.
I did not see the buyback article, but I would love it if you could drop the link in the chat.
Oh yeah, I read that, or I read a summary of it, I should say. Yeah, buybacks are back, baby. Although how much of that was Apple right there?
I'm bullish buybacks.
Love you, Lou.
Oh
Cheers,
wait,
guys.
see you. Sorry, see you. I
Adam,
realized Louis was
Go
time was up.
go
It's
drink some of that
9:11.
Kiwi Pinot Noir, my friend.
Hey, I could bring some over. Bring some through customs. For
Louis
you.
like, I told you, JC, I don't drink.
Yeah.
Well, if you start drinking, drink some of the Pinot Noir from New Zealand. It's fantastic.
Absolutely, I'll take your recommendation.
Louis
Oh, man.
Sykes, AC
Adios.
Crypto. Check it out.
Can you
Description.
put up something that's actually working? Because this is a pattern that we talk about again and again and again and again. And you want to know something? We're going to keep talking about it. You know why? Because they keep working.
Yeah.
Spencer, if you will.
Wait, what am I bringing up?
Slide 2, baby. Give it to them.
All right, peace out, Louis.
Adios.
Peace. Later.
Strazza, how many times do we have to do this?
They're not tops. I love these patterns, especially in these like mega caps. If I could zoom out on the chart and it looks like this and I see a top like that, I'm like salivating, right? these secular leaders, and that's the ones that we've really been focusing on. They end up not being tops majority of the time, especially in bull markets. So
Right, man?
Yep.
Right? I mean, what an absolute beast. So listen, it's not my fault that the market's been a mess for months. It's not like I pressed the button and told the NASDAQ to do nothing for an entire quarter. Like, I had nothing to do with it, right? And for the record, people are like, oh, Jay, look forward to when JC likes the market again. I don't dislike the market again. It's a bull market, right? Contrary, who wasn't in the chat telling me JC drowning his bear market sorrows? With food and wine. Nobody said this is a bear market. This is a raging bull market. Mr. Palm Beach Junk has been a raging bull market. But if we've learned anything about raging bull markets in the past, is that they don't go straight up. And as it turns out, this is exactly like all those others where you have months at a time where the market goes nowhere. Right? It's just like that. Right, Spencer?
Sure. I'm bringing on our guest,
Please.
Michael Nauss, Status Trading. He's here. He brought charts. Well, let's see what he's got.
Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
Oh, Michael Nauss, what's happening, my man?
What's going on, buddy? How are things? It's been a while.
That beard, man, that is impressive, bro.
It is. Well, I'm impressed by it, but now that I've got a new one, a new baby, she's grabbing, and even though she's a month old, you'd be surprised the grip on those things. It's crazy. I might have to trim it up a bit.
Dude, very aggressive. I'm into it. We're very worldly here, bringing our Canadian friend here, and Louis coming in from New Zealand. What's next? Just very diversified here globally.
It's a good time with the TSX making new all-time highs.
Shout out Canada.
So I'm in a great mood. Even with some banking troubles that we were having up here, everything's doing great.
Well, think about it. What's in Canada, right? Other than Canadians and hockey, right? What do you got? You got banks, you got natural resources, you got industrials.
That's about it.
Maple syrup. Those things have been working pretty well, right?
Yeah, especially the uranium front. I've seen a lot of good uranium names popping up there. Gold's been doing great. It looks like it might be coiling back up again. And even we have had a little bit of a scandal with one of our banks, even though the banks are a large part of our economy. We only have like 6 of them. And one of them's having a little bit of a hard time. We're still breaking out all-time highs. So if that ever recovers, I think we'll be doing great.
How about that? Michael, I got these guys, they're telling me that we're seeing an expansion in new highs. Can you believe these guys?
Well, if we're going over to the U.S. market, I've got some models that I run there. I've got one that's still flagging yellow. It's still a little risk model saying, hey, we've got some not worries, right? It's a bull market, just like you said before I got on here, and everything's looking great there. I see the chart up here. So just you look at the bottom. This is a risk model that I'm constantly tweaking. I'm building this one out. It uses I brought it up because you're using breath. It uses breath like the Zwag breath thrust as a bit of a function of that. And it's flagging yellow a little bit, just saying we may not be ready to crack through that all-time highs just yet. And, just with this action, you can see it does a pretty good job of saying, hey, you're in a strong bull market. It's time to just buy everything under the sun. Or, hey, you might be in for a little bit of a chop or a little bit of a pullback. Maybe you do some more defensive type trades or, sell premium or buy dips, that kind of stuff.
And this is derived from the Zweig breath?
It's got a couple components to it. So one is anchored VWAP based, right? Shout out to Brian Shannon there. So are we above or below major anchor VWAPs? It's got a bit where it looks at sector rotation, right? So I think part of the thing that's turning it yellow right now is probably the massive outperformance in utilities that we're seeing. It doesn't like that. And then, it's got some breadth indication. So how strong is the breadth? And for it to turn green, all of those things need to be good. We need to be above all anchored VWAPs. We need to see the sectors that we want to see strong when the market is strong, which is, consumer discretionary and tech and that type of stuff. And it needs to be showing good breadth. And there's a couple things that are keeping it a little bit low right now.
Now, what's this? The AVWAP bounce Monte Carlo. Talk to me about the fancy things you've been doing here. It's very fancy. Once Monte Carlo gets involved, that's how you know it's fancy.
Well, I know there'll be like probably 3 nerds in the chat that will really, really like this with me. But I know you may be in this camp a little bit as well, if we may be in for a little bit more chop, and that's what my kind of overall model is saying right now, I thought I would bring some charts of pullbacks, because when we may be in for a little bit more chop, I'm leaning a little bit less on breakout and strength models and trend continuation models, and I'm looking to buy pullbacks and to sell rips and to do that. So I've brought this a couple charts from this model right here, and this is just to show that, hey, buying anchored VWAP pullbacks works, right? These are back tests. For those who don't know what a Monte Carlo model is, the black line in the middle is the back test. I went back to 1980. I said, hey, what happens if you buy stocks that are pulling back to major anchored VWAPs, especially in choppy markets? That's what that is. And then all of the other stuff around that is saying, what happened if you did that in weird orders, right? It's to make sure that a back test that you run isn't curve fit. It's not cherry picked. Regardless of what orders you took the trades in, it ends up being a good idea to buy these anchored VWAP pullbacks for, when you're in markets like this for short-term trades. We're talking like, a week or 2 weeks hold on some of these guys.
Let's talk about some individual names.
Sure.
Bringing an apparel company, an energy stock, and a pharmaceutical. Man, I love the diversification here with the ideas, Mr. Nauss.
Oh, it's the beauty of just letting an algorithm just spit out. And, between the different algos I run, it probably spits out 100, 150 charts. I got to go through each night, and I go through them and try to find ones that look good. And I figured I'd bring some in for your audience as well.
I love you. I love how you dork out. I love it. Did you hear that the founder of Bumble, that one of those dating apps, she said that the future of dating is going to be your algo getting to know the partner's algo and matching them up before you ever even talk, right? Do your algos date and talk to each other like that too, or no?
Not yet, man. That would be an interesting world. You have to sit and you have to say, what would my algo spit out? I'm sure
That's
it's
right.
like
That's right.
pulling all the
What would
data
my
from the
algo
internet.
say about her algo?
Well, what does your algo say about you? So if I'm reading JC's algo, what am I looking at, right? And what are they finding? Guy
Too
likes
much Italian wine is probably what they'll find.
Yeah, so this one's GIII, right? So some of these are a little lower float. So I just want to warn the people, right? Lower float, right? Good on the upside, can be bad on the downside. So make sure you're trading some of these accordingly. Like you, I don't really know a lot about what these companies do other than the sectors. I want to make sure I'm diversified from sectors. Other than that, I don't know. I know they've got earnings end of June or mid-June, so I'm not worried about that. Gap down, the purple line is the VWAP. That's what the algo is looking for. It's looking for a lot of time above that VWAP. It's looking for a pullback into it and for it to hold. And yesterday, and anyway, it held. This one, I like this one. I picked it up because it's got some short float data, right? So 13 days to cover. For those who don't know, it just means that if people start buying this thing, it's going to take them 13 days to get out of their position. So that could cause a little bit of a pop here. Again, these are shorter term plays, and be a little cautious with those, right? Next one we got is PBF. So this is a much bigger guy, and a nice energy play here. Nice pullback on this name. If the chart in the bottom left, the little chart is a picture-in-picture chart we got, and that's just showing a monthly line chart. So I can see the daily chart and I can see the monthly chart all in one area. Nice looking monthly chart, great strong trend there. So I want to buy pullbacks in these trends, especially if I think the market's going to be a little choppy. This one's got 9% short float, 5 days to cover. And again, you can see that anchored VWAP in purple, bounced off at once, which was great. And now it's back there again. So the trade here gets pretty simple. I'd love to have Sean look at the options on these one of these days and just see Is there some premium to sell or something like that? But if it holds that VWAP, I'm interested. If it breaks too far below, it's time to go, right? So
I
your risk
mean,
is
we're
really
looking at a
small here.
$5 billion company. I guess it depends on where you're looking. You might have some liquidity. Yeah, I think Sean will say there's probably some liquidity in there.
Yeah. Last but not least, SUPN. So the pharmaceutical company, another little guy. So again, just be careful about that. This anchored VWAP, you can see it's been holding the whole time. And the algo doesn't really look for that. It just looks for, a series of indicators and all that. And then I obviously eye it by chart. Had earnings yesterday, gapped up on earnings, big choppy day, ended up holding that anchored VWAP pretty well. The thing I like about these in these particular markets is that if the market is going to be choppy, I'm buying the dips, I'm selling the rips, I'm being very tactical. As a member of All Star Option Service, I love the straddle selling and the premium that you guys are collecting right now, because I'm not super bulled up when it comes to just owning a massive portfolio worth of names and just watching them. I want to be a little more tactical, and these are just some names that came from.
And by the way, Michael, these aren't that small of names. These are all $1 billion plus market caps. The refiners $5 billion, right? The PBF is $5 billion. This one's 1 billion. The other one was over $1 billion. So, are you specifically filtering by $1 billion plus companies, or is it just a coincidence?
Just a coincidence. And I know you guys aren't going to come up here and talk about penny stocks unless you ask me about.
Listen, I know how you
these
Canadians get down with some of these penny stocks and your venture exchanges. I know how it is over there.
I was about to say, yeah, we've got some, especially in the resource space, we've got a whole bunch of little junky guys. But no, it's this particular setup is run on the Russell 3000, because the idea is that I don't want to buy pullbacks in stuff that's absolute junk, right? I don't want to buy pullbacks in micro caps, because if that micro cap's pulling back, it's probably tanking, right? So this universe for this particular scan again is the Russell 3000.
Love it, man. Love it. And then, so how do you think this is going to shake out? So you think the mess in this market's going to remain in place for a little bit? What's a little bit? Few more weeks, few more months, few more quarters?
I think, well, a few more weeks. I think at least, it's getting through an all-time high like that. Yeah, we can just smash through, right? We've seen it happen before. I don't follow any of the macro stuff out there, but I hear macro people are mad about something. But again, I look at it, I say, hey, we're coming up to resistance.
And remember, it's not the macro people that are mad. I just want to read, I know but just reiterating to those out there, it's not the macro people that are mad. It's the mad people that blame macro for their anger.
Yes. Yeah, well, if you're ever and I know you've had the misfortune being in these spaces a couple times, but if you're ever in a space with a whole bunch of macro people, they always seem mad about something. But again, I use models, the models saying, hey, be a little cautious here. We're coming up to a resistance point. Then I just got to watch, right? If we break right through, I'm sure that thing will flip green and I'll be buying breakouts again. But until then, I'm just being a little tactical, a lot of cash, a lot of, taking shots when I see them, that kind of thing.
And Michael Nauss is a nice, happy guy. Let these angry people blaming macro, let them be angry. Who gives a shit about those people? Go be angry. Go knock yourself out.
We have to be happy and nice up in Canada. They kick us out. They send us down there with you guys.
Canadians are always so nice. I love Canadians.
Michael, what kind of wildlife you get behind you?
Bears sometimes, only black bears though, so they're nice. Mostly
only black bears.
Yeah, they're mostly nice. They want to eat berries. They want to eat your garbage. If you yell real loud, they'll usually run away. And then we got.
They don't want to eat the people.
No. If you see a black bear, you can usually scream and it'll run away. If you see something that's brown or big, then
I know. But I've seen brown bears. They look black, and the black bears look brown. So how do you know?
They're little. Some of the black bears I've seen here, I've got a pit bull that I'm sure could go out there and whoop it. But
really,
they're. We have a Facebook group for the neighborhood, and when they spot a black bear, they say, "Hey, there's a black bear on the street." Don't call animal control. They just come in. They create a bunch of noise. It's more trouble than they're worth. They'll go away on his own, right? And we'll go down to the lake where there's fish or something. But those guys generally leave you alone.
When are you coming down to New York City?
As soon as I can. Again, I've got I think it's her 1 month birthday today or something. So I need the wife to allow me, but I would
Yeah,
love to.
I hear that, brother, man. I hear that.
I need, especially we got that, and we got a 2-year-old. So as soon as I can convince her that she can manage those two on her own, then I've definitely got. I miss you guys. I miss New York. I miss talking trading with people. So
So, Michael, what's the advice to Spencer and Strazza? Take your time.
yep,
Take your time, fellas.
take your time. Another piece of advice I got that was great is the baby's not going to like you for the first like 6 months to a year. You're a factory worker. Mom is comfort and food and all this stuff. You just wash stuff and you hold them, and then when you hold them, they're not going to like you. And then you wait like 2 years, and then dad's cool again. But dad's not cool in the beginning.
Good to know.
I'm so cool these days. Like, I'm a rock star these days. But
I'm
yeah, that wasn't always the case.
I'm waiting. I think the further along they get, the cooler
Yeah.
dad gets, and the less cool mom gets. But you've got to bear that little bit in the beginning where it's like, hey, baby will be calm. She puts me in my arms, and baby goes, no, you're not food. Get out of here. You're not interesting to me.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
Mr. Nauss,
Awesome.
be careful with those bears, bro.
Awesome.
Stay away from those angry Twitter spaces. You don't want to be there.
I would rather the Bears over the angry Twitter space any day of the week.
Me too.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
Adios.
Yep. Although I do wonder if the nice Bears thing is just a Canadian phenomenon. I don't know how nice our Bears in the U.S. are.
I know. I don't know about it. He's very comfortable around these bears. I don't know that I would be that comfortable.
Yeah.
He thinks his dog would beat up the bear? I don't know.
A pit bull, no less. Those things are not large animals.
I know, but they're feisty.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey.
Mr. Strazza, I saw some charts being shared around. Is there anything you'd like to share?
Am I allowed to show the new highs chart, or should we just move on?
You can do it. We can count together if you want. It could be like a counting. We could go 1, 2. It won't take very long. So, because there aren't that many.
Mhm. So most amount of short-term new highs in about a month, right? So when we say new highs are expanding, I think that's the time frame we're kind of talking about.
Oh, yeah. So most short-term new highs in a month. That's what you're pounding the table about.
Yeah. Right? Because you got to start somewhere. So
all right. Most 20-day highs that we've seen in a month, folks. That's if that's not like emblematic of the type of market environment we're in, where we have to stretch that far to be like, oh, new highs are expanding because the 20-day high list is the highest it's been in a month.
the point is, this line is going up, not down. I think that's all we were talking about here. And now I want to talk about utilities. Did you
Again, is that not emblematic of the market we're in? You're stretching to make a point about the new highs because there are none, and now you're transitioning into utility stocks. What's next? Procter and Gamble?
There are a handful of utilities that just look very different from the rest. In fact, they don't look like utility stocks at all. And they look like AI stocks. And when you do the work, you figure out it's because they are AI stocks. So I don't know. It's not for me, but they say energy is the biggest constraint, not compute power, for the AI revolution that's coming. And the companies that own nuclear reactors or stakes in some of these nuclear power plants are going to get that business. So Constellation Energy, I think NRG just sold their stake in their nuclear plant, actually, a couple months ago. But they're ripping like they're going to have something to do with this trend. And Vistra Corp, probably better than any of them, VST. So these are nuclear power utilities, which have become some really, really profitable AI picks and axes plays.
I would just like to see, I could probably guess what it says, but each one of these against the XLU, just to get a sense for how recent or not recent that outperformance is. Has this been going on for a year?
These
Or
have been working, Spencer.
Yeah.
So something like VST. I mean, NRG, do we have the base, Fonz? You probably have that handy. We were writing about NRG over a year ago, breaking out this massive base. It looks so
I
good.
remember NRG. I don't remember the other two being talked about.
VST, dude, has been a straight line higher since this time last year. Really February of last year. 340%. Utilities. So good for these guys. I would imagine they'll pay some solid dividends too.
Also, we probably shouldn't overthink the or let's overthink it. Let's have this conversation. What does this mean about interest rates? You know?
These specifically, probably very little because they're
Right.
trading like tech stocks.
They're trading way better than tech stocks, for the record.
So I think utilities more broadly, because it's very broad strength in utilities, right? It's not just the AI utilities that look good right now. I think it's bond market. I think it's definitely more bond market than defense, in my opinion. I wouldn't be saying that if this was Staples up 10%.
Yeah, but hold on. But let's talk about this relationship. So if yields were falling,
Yeah.
there would be a higher need for investors to go to utilities to get that yield. So falling rates historically should point to higher utilities, right?
Yeah.
But in this case, rates have been rising and utilities doing well in that environment. But
It's the
a lot of
bond
these bond relationships have changed also over the last couple of years too. So that's why I say, do we really want to overthink it, right?
Also, markets are forward looking, right? So I could say to you, yeah, sure, but utilities are trading on the future expectations of lower interest rates.
But traditionally they've traded coincidentally though.
Traditionally.
Yeah.
More
Right,
about-
Yeah,
right.
but wouldn't the rotation have to wait until we actually get an interest rate change?
No,
Right?
but nobody has to wait for anything. This is the
Interest
market.
rates change every day, Spencer. Interest rates change 24/7.
All right. Yeah. I was referring to like the rate, the one rate to rule them all, but
Were you talking about this Federal Reserve thing again? Aren't we?
yeah.
Aren't
All
we?
right.
Are we
fine.
adults now?
So
Can we-
fine. So
What are we doing?
never mind.
Spencer forgot that interest rates change every day.
No, I didn't forget.
He's talking about the Fed funds, right?
Yeah. Never mind.
Yeah, because Spencer's a bank now. So, right, Spencer?
I do
wait,
like.
I have a couple of non-utility stocks I want to bring up.
Please. Do we have any?
Please.
Do we have earnings?
Earnings, yeah. Well, we have a you know what? Another day, another ridiculous move in the restaurant stock. Can we bring up SG? This thing's up 33%.
Beans. It's a momentum game. It's momentum, baby. Look at this thing. Wow, the base
Yeah,
is in.
Sweet Green. I'm not even going to give you the numbers because who really cares? They're not even profitable. They're not profitable. Okay, I'll tell you that. Actually, I'm pretty sure they missed, but I looked like an hour ago and I don't really remember. But regardless, to Steve's point earlier, the price action is what matters. It's up 34% today.
Salads are in. Salads are so on trend.
Yes.
They chop them. I'll bet they chop their salads. Yeah, look at
You have the
that.
chart? There we go.
Extra chopped salad. I'm with Strazza on this one.
No more chop here, though. Trend is higher.
Heyo, I got that pun. Elsewhere in earnings land, really not much. I mentioned we had Marathon. Not that the earnings are really, indicative of how the stock should move, but earnings are out and stock is pretty
People
muted.
feel way too strongly about these Bitcoin miners. I went down the rabbit hole last night. I saw way too much. I saw things that I never should have seen on Twitter. People get very emotional about their Bitcoin miners. I don't understand it. We have some really excellent crypto vehicles that have been trending well this whole cycle, and the miners really aren't them. Like JC's talking about, these are nasty ranges. These are some of the messiest charts you'll find. We've had success trading these ranges, but they're not resolving. So why the obsession for the Bitcoin miners when we have quality crypto vehicles in the equities market? I don't know. They're memey. It's memey out there for these names.
I don't know if we got the chart of it, but the big gainer of the day is Novavax. If you can remember back to the COVID days, they had their COVID vaccine. The stock was a disaster. They had a going concern. They just announced earnings today, but also more importantly, they announced a deal with Sanofi to commercialize their COVID vaccines, to commercialize Novavax's vaccines.
Sanofi.
What?
Sanofi.
Sanofi. Sanofi? I've always called it Sanofi.
I think it's Sanofi.
I'm sure
Really?
the French would pronounce it differently than both of
I've
us.
always called it Sanofi, and no one's corrected me ever.
You know how the French always have like that Germanic, like.
I thought you were saying Sony.
Yeah, Sanofi.
No one's ever corrected me on that. I've okay until just now.
It's my job here, Spencer. I don't know if you noticed. It's my job to break your balls.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
Novavax, in conjunction with this deal with Sanofi, they got rid of the going concern. So they're not going to go out of business. They're not going to get delisted. So the stock is up 138% today. Not a headline. Big winner of the day. Elsewhere on my list, Taiwan Semi, not earnings, but they did give their April some April numbers. Revenue up 26% year over year and 60% month over month. No, that's reverse it. Reverse what I just said. 60% year over year, 21% month over month. They also approved a little bit of a dividend there of $4 per share. So there you go. Taiwan Semi.
Look at this base, guys. Come on, man. Come on. You see this, Strazza?
These are the
This is
charts
what
I'm
I'm
buying.
talking about. This is
Yeah.
what I'm talking about.
So this one you like?
What's there not to like?
Oh. Okay.
You're talking about all these stocks that are making new highs when there actually aren't any. This one is. You understand? You see the difference?
I don't see the difference between this and AS.
Okay, we're talking about all these invisible stocks that don't exist that are making new highs.
Listen,
This one actually is making new highs.
here's what I'll say. If you like this chart, you must be pretty damn bullish the market right now, because we made a list of 20 critical indexes that all look like this, taking out the prior cycle highs. So you must be so freakishly bullish if you like this chart, because they're everywhere.
Who said I was bear? I haven't been bearish in a while.
I'm happy to hear it. I'm happy to hear it.
I guess. I mean, I just follow the data, and you're telling me about all these stocks, fake news, that are making new highs. Not the case. This one actually is.
I think we could sell puts in all of these charts.
Well, in a lot of these things, you're not really getting paid to sell puts, Strazza.
And a lot of them are high priced. We went through it, but like
you're not getting paid. You're better off just buying the calls naked in a lot of these cases.
Like Uber right now, it's settled down from its little earnings drop. Sell puts against the prior cycle highs all day, all day. There's so many of these charts right now.
You're not getting paid for it, Strazza.
I don't care.
What do you mean you don't care? So you're going to sell puts and not get paid for it? For what?
I'm going to get paid. I'm not going to lose money if they hold these levels. I'm going to pay.
No, but you're just not getting paid enough for it to be worth it, because a lot of these things imply volatility has collapsed, especially after earnings. You're better off buying the calls than you are selling the puts.
Well, I don't know if they're going to stay sideways for a while.
Again, I agree with that also, actually.
No?
It's just that in a lot of these cases, you're not getting paid to sell puts. So why are we going to sell puts?
Sean, can we figure out who's paying us to sell puts here? Fonz, send Sean the level of the prior cycle highs.
The semiconductor ETF is towards its highs, but just because it's high relative to where it's been doesn't mean it's high on an absolute basis where it's worth our time to sell the puts, right? This is like the conversation that I feel like we keep having. Maybe not keep having, but we've had it over the last couple weeks, probably.
Yeah. All right. Great. Can we bring Fonz on? He's got some stuff to say.
We can.
Borelli.
We can. But for the record, the chat says I'm right. It is pronounced Sanofi.
The truth is, none of us are right, because the French say it. Sanofi.
No. It's Sanofi.
And
Sanofi.
It's not Sanu. It's like a now. It's like a Sanofi. It's not a nu. It's an ow.
Sonknalfi. That's what Jack says.
Something like that.
So okay.
The French is like a very thick accent, and you have to because they have that Germanic influence for the language of love or whatever. Sure is ugly as hell.
I took French in high school. A lot of good that did me here.
I'm
All
more
right,
into
Fonz,
the
you ready?
romance languages, right? Strazza, Italian and Spanish, right? That's romantic. Come on, French.
See languages.
Fonz, coming on. Let's do it.
American is, English is it's an ugly language. Also, it's not.
I'm bringing Fonz on.
Fonzarelli. Oh, you're on mute. Come on,
Oh, mute
Fonz.
yourself. There you go.
Hey
First
guys,
timer.
how's it going?
What's up, Rook?
Everything good?
Good, brother. Good.
Good to hear that.
We're talking about the lack of new highs. Strazza spreading around fake news that we're getting an expansion in new highs. This Taiwan semi actually is making a new high.
Yep.
We'll see where it closes, see if it actually is or not. But it's certain, you could actually argue that one is making new highs when very, very few things are. One of the things that stood out to me yesterday, staples and utilities were the only S&P sectors that are making new 52-week highs, but industrials are right there.
Yeah, industrial has been right there, like in this cycle. So it's really, really hard to see. For example, if you guys are waiting for a deep correction, it wouldn't happen with industrials behaving in the way they have been doing so far.
Industrials are making new highs right now.
Industrials look great.
Fonz, why don't you share with everybody what else from the financial sector is making new all-time highs today? I think you just wrote about it.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things about financials. Right now, the big banks are catching my attention. I think this is a big level for our custom index, right to the pre-financial crisis highs. But also capital markets stocks are doing great. They're looking very, very actionable right here. We made a post yesterday. We published it yesterday. Capital markets and asset management stocks. What we try to do is when we look at this chart of KCE, where we see price pressing against the former highs. So we try to look underneath the surface and looking for some similar kind of setup. For me, my favorite chart here.
Hold on. Before we get into this.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys are doing right now. Think about this. All of this is great. Right? Capital markets are doing their thing. Financials are doing their thing. You haven't once mentioned, and to my own fault, we haven't once mentioned that the relative strength is in European banks.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What does that say about financials as a sector when European banks are a leader? Hello?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, sorry. I wanted to interrupt because I feel like that is such an important piece to this
No, but
puzzle.
that's an amazing, a very important point for sure. Here, in fact, is European
There it
financials.
is. Come on. When was the last time you could say European banks and relative strength in the same sentence with a straight face?
I mean, yeah, you're right. European financials have been leading the way up. All the banks from Spain, France, the UK have been doing great. And now we're seeing the United States big banks starting to participate higher. This is a great chart. But more specifically, capital markets stocks. I really like, for example, Interactive Brokers making new all-time highs right there. Probably my favorite stock or name in this group, TradeWeb. Really nice base, nice coil.
That's my favorite.
Breaking out higher. So I really like this, how financials are behaving lately.
25 billion market cap. It's not nothing. It used to be a lot less, remember?
Yeah, no, they're solid size. I mean, there are just so many charts that look like this in capital markets, broker dealers, and exchanges right now.
1177 Avenue of the Americas. Not to be a fat ass, but isn't that where Del Frisco's is?
I used to work there. I spent 4 months in that office.
What street is that?
Avenue of the Americas is 7th, right?
That's an avenue. What street?
I don't know.
And it's 6th.
It was in Midtown. I know that much.
You're killing me, Smalls.
What? I have Google Maps.
Listen, this TradeWeb, man, 25 billion. Dude, this thing was so much smaller like 2 seconds ago. This thing, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
What do you mean?
It's a large cap. I mean, it's been a large cap.
I mean, this thing was much smaller.
This was the old TRI. What is
What is
that
that noise?
Yeah, well, it's better now. This was, it used to be TRI, right? Thomson Reuters. Oh, there still is a TRI.
No, this is TradeWeb.
Yeah.
This is TradeWeb.
Same. They like own each other. It's all.
And
Yeah.
TradeWeb is more like
No.
high frequency.
TradeWeb?
They have a
Yeah.
division that's it's digital bond brokerage. Yes.
That's the business. That's what they do.
They also have data, Refinitiv.
TradeWeb is Refinitiv?
Mm-hmm.
No.
I mean, not that I give it. I really don't care at all. But
When I was doing the audit 4 or 5 years ago, it was.
No.
yeah, you're right. It operates as a subsidiary of Refinitiv Parent Limited. So Refinitiv owns this one, not the other way around.
No, Refinitiv is owned by the London Stock Exchange.
Right. But TradeWeb operates as a subsidiary of Refinitiv.
It's complicated, guys.
Yeah, I know.
Wait, really?
Mhm.
I don't know that.
Come on, Spencer.
Like 3 different audit teams all trying to work together because of their corporate structure.
Sounds very confusing. Line go up. Call me a simpleton.
Look, the chart looks great. It looks like a lot of other things in this space right now.
Is this the best looking financial funds?
I love this chart. I love that chart, honestly.
I love that you love it.
Yeah. And JC, you mentioned Europe, you mentioned like overseas stocks, emerging markets trying to break out of a reversal base. It's catching my attention. Of course, China has a lot of weight in this ETF. And here is the relative trend. I mean, in the last decade, emerging markets have been underperforming the S&P. And if you look the lower pane, I put the consecutive days below the 200-day moving average. It's reaching an extreme level here. So let's see if it can reclaim the 200-day moving average. And if that happens, let's see if it can stay for a prolonged period of time above this moving average and change this trend. I don't know what you guys think about it. That's got my attention right now.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's going to take a while. This long term of a trend.
Yeah, but I got an interesting one. How about this one? Throw up the new slide 2, Spencer. This is the one I'm looking at that I think is super interesting. You know, this goes back to Strazza's like long China, short India.
Yeah.
You know, sort of trade. I'm not really picking on India. I think that's a tough one to pick on for that matter. I like China versus anything, China versus US. So it's kind of in that sphere, but sticking with emerging markets and kind of the way Strazza's thinking, you know, this has been a major trend since COVID is the rest of emerging markets over China, right? So looking at EM ex China versus EM with China, right? Things have changed more recently as China's starting to perk up, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think China is where you want to be in this region. When's the last time you say that? Jeez.
Right. I was going to say, when was the last time you could say that?
All right. I got something to say. Fonz, you wanted to talk about these VWAPs quick?
Yep. I have the table here.
We promised everyone we would do this.
So this is our prior cycle highs checklist. These are 19 of the most important indexes and sectors that were challenging their former highs from 2021, 2022 highs. As you can see, a lot of these indexes have reclaimed these levels. Only one is still below. That's the equal weight NASDAQ index. And yesterday, Steve mentioned like the importance to anchor a VWAP to the year-to-date highs. So I did the job, and here are some of the stats. Most of them have reclaimed the VWAP from the year-to-date high.
This is important.
Yeah, I think it is too.
Trend alignment, right? I think structurally the trend is very much intact if you're above the prior cycle or prior or former bull market highs, which is the second to last column to the right. And then the short-term trend is also higher, or at least, you know, controlled by the bulls if we're above the VWAP from the year-to-date highs.
Yeah.
I like this. This is great. I think this is an excellent roadmap, at least for right now, to help us navigate, you know, this corrective wave, and when, you know, when the primary trend reasserts itself, and how much exposure do you want to have, how aggressive do you want to be. I think this table can really help.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree with that.
I think that it's going to be
say something depressing. Go ahead.
I don't know what it is that you're so angry about. I'm perfectly happy. I was actually going to say the things that I would be looking at to confirm what Strazza said, that, you know, this corrective action that we've seen for several months is behind us and we're moving forward. I think industrials and financials in particular, those two sectors, you know, could be the leaders, because obviously the technology stocks got hit really bad. So they've been further away. So it's harder for technology to make a new all-time high, while financials and industrials have held in there relatively well, right?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
The brunt of the pressure has come from some of the largest components in this market as you've gotten rotation into consumer staples, as in utilities. Obviously, the only two sectors made new highs yesterday, but also I'm glad Jim's talking about volume. The last couple of days in the S&P 500 volume have been some of the lowest on record, back-to-back low volume days.
I see people talking about this.
Yeah. Any thoughts, or is that just, you know, staples and utilities are the ones making new 52-week highs, gold miners making new 52-week highs, and volume's super low? Like, is that just all the same thing?
I wouldn't expect it.
I wouldn't have expected that either.
In the heart of earnings season, listen, volume's weird. Something that I've learned in my career.
I agree wholeheartedly with that.
We have dark pools. I saw this earlier on in my career. We have dark pools. We have such complex derivative markets. Volume can dry up and expand for reasons that none of us will ever really know about.
Yeah.
So, market mechanics. I don't know.
Yeah. You know, people like I'm a Dow theory purist. I'm not like, you know, full send Dow theory purist, but like I'm pretty hardcore. The one exception I take to Dow's principles is the tenet about volume. You know, volume confirming price.
Volume confirming breakouts.
Because remember, back in the late 1800s, all you had was the volume on the stock exchange. Now you have all this other shit. You got all these ETFs and all
Options,
these derivatives and the dark pools and all these block trades that you did not have when Charlie Dow was writing these tenets. So as much of a Dow theory purist that I am, I don't go full send because of the volume sitch.
So I love this. So this is what the textbooks teach you, that you need volume to confirm a breakout. So that's the way I originally learned it 10 years
in the 1880s.
Yeah. Also, you know, some of my early mentors, shout out Milton. You guys know Milton, big volume on breakouts guy. I had to get in there and see it over and over and over again. You will see weak volume breakouts stick all the time. And I had to see that and retrain my brain. I don't know if it worked in the past or not. That doesn't really affect me, but it doesn't work today. So if you don't have volume on a breakout, I don't think it makes the breakout any less valid.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. Rocket Science wants to know, so you don't trust volume, but you don't like VWAP. It's not that we don't trust the volume. Is that the quote unquote volume doesn't give you all the information. It's just a piece. So it's not that you don't trust it. I trust it. I just know for a fact that there's a lot more volume and a lot more information going on in derivatives and in other things.
And with this said, if I see outsized volume or above average volume on a breakout, I do look at that and say, oh, great, sweet, bullish, right?
I look more for volume. I look more for volume spikes on the bottom as capitulation.
And you get that sometimes too.
Look at a volume chart of General Electric in March of 2009.
It is a boomer thing. Dawson's not wrong. This is an older generation type of thing. This big
because older generations, it was more valuable to them, and as time has gone on, it's become less and less and less valuable.
and it's going to get even less
valuable. Yes, exactly.
Charles Dow, such a boomer. All right.
Wait
can
till
we-
they tokenize all the stocks, and all the stocks are on the blockchain.
All these synthetic assets too. Everything's very strange now.
Well, yeah. Before we do that, JC, we have to get leveraged ETFs, leveraged single stock ETFs on every stock in the market.
At a
Well,
certain,
I think the tokenization comes before that.
Okay. We'll see.
okay. There are too many vehicles for investment. at this
There's
point.
not enough vehicles, man.
No, it's not that there's too many.
I think
There's
there
not, no, there's not too many. There's the right amount.
Some of
It's
them
just-
are absolute trash, though.
Yeah, sure. Because some stocks are not absolute trash.
Yeah, but you don't need a triple X leveraged fund on a stock that's already trash.
Oh my God.
Shit out
Speaking of trash, hit the bumper. I got something funny.
Wait, I have a Dow related recess as well. So
Good.
All right.
All right, you guys ready for this? Can't make this shit up. You know how we've been pounding the table and done very well with this Trump thing, with the Trump
You guys-
SPAC,
yeah.
and we. Thank you. Howard Lindsay says I'm not a serious investor because we've been trading this.
Oh, this.
We put on a bull call spread actually this week, so forget what it said. We're in it again. Bull call spread this week on the DJT, right? So this is like the Trump SPAC. Guess who got invited to Mar-a-Lago? Because we've been tweeting about it and writing about the DJT, I got invited to Mar-a-Lago.
By who?
By the Truth Social people.
No way.
You're gonna go, right?
That's serious.
You're gonna go.
That's serious.
I'm gonna call you after the show.
When do you go there?
When we're in California. Isn't that funny?
Oh, they think that you actually like the company, JC.
They think that I actually give a shit about their message and everything like that.
Look what
But
you've
I'm just
done.
looking for a short squeeze.
That's crazy though that they would do that. That's so terrible.
Yeah,
It would
I'm
be
not desperate at
un-American
all.
not to not go.
I don't like it when companies interact with the people who talk about them. I think it's
Isn't that funny, dude?
trash. Yeah, that's wow.
It's ridiculous. All right. That's a good recess, JC.
I
Mine
thought it
can't
was a
top
good
that.
recess.
Mine
That's
can't
right.
top that. But I was going to say we have some Dow Jones on Dow Jones crime today. So Dow Jones, which is of course the publisher of the Wall Street Journal. This is from a WSJ column this morning. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is a relic. It is also having its worst period of underperformance versus the S&P since the dot-com bubble, and before that, since the soaring inflation in the 70s and 80s. The Dow's terrible performance could be a sign that we're at another turning point for the markets. I'm almost done. The Dow is a measure of companies that used to be considered great, while the S&P is dominated by companies that are currently considered great. When times have changed, the two move apart. The S&P rebalances towards the newest companies, and the Dow doesn't.
The
But that
Dow
was
was
interesting.
on its 8th straight day of gains. When was this written?
This morning or last night.
Wow. Okay.
It's probably written a week ago. It just got approved last night.
I don't know. This one's for you, JC.
I thought you'd appreciate that. I actually laughed when I read it.
The only thing that investors need to know about the difference between the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq and the Dow is the composition. So if tech and growth is a leader in the cycle, then the Nasdaq and the S&P are going to outperform the Dow, right? In that order, and vice versa. If tech is a laggard and some of the other sectors are outperforming, particularly those that are not even in the Nasdaq or have low weightings in the S&P 500, then the Dow's going to outperform. It's not that one's better or worse. It's just a sector rotation thing. It's not that big of a deal.
Throw up the GameStop. This is my recess. Stocks are squeezing. This just speaks to the environment that we're in. We talked about it. We've talked about GameStop on here over the past few days. Largest 2-day, best 2-day performance since back during the meme stock craze, 2020, 2021. The chart should be in the chat. And look at the way this thing coiled for a couple days after it ramped up off the lows. Do we have the chart?
Yeah,
that's not it.
Right there.
Okay.
But let's talk about this before we go. What is very normal in a messy market where things are just chopping. Just go to slide, Spencer. Did you guys not include it? It was such a good chart. Here, throw up the new slide too, and we'll end it here.
GameStop and utilities. What a market.
No, well, you're making my point here. Here, throw this
What a
up.
market. What a time to be alive, huh?
Dude, there's
So,
sweets in them. Carvana.
In this messy market,
Yeah.
what's been happening is that, so this is the median stock. The median stock's at the same price it was in December, right? So what's happening is that the leaders have mean reverted down, and the laggards you're seeing mean revert up. China, the meme stocks, you're seeing some solar, marijuana, like just the garbage. Utes, staples, I mean, right? Like the worst ones catching up, the best ones catching down, meeting in the middle. Right?
In some cases, but we also could point to things like industrials making new all-time highs. But
And financials.
You're right about a lot of the growth
financials
stuff. Yeah, financials are making them too.
Right. But now, like over the last week or two, things are improving in some of those areas. But just over for months at a time, it was those, the shark the alligator closing its mouth, right? Just that mean reversion from both sides, making it even more frustrating for people who weren't recognizing that we were in a messy market, right?
I guess. Yeah.
So you're putting utilities.
It's not like somebody who didn't realize we were in a messy market is like, this doesn't make any sense at all. Why are the pot stocks ripping and China ripping and tech is selling off? Fundamentals, bro, right?
You're putting utilities in the same group as cannabis and GameStop?
I'm putting them in the same group as things that were not working and or underperforming.
Laggards.
Now performing the best. Laggards. Yeah, laggards.
Yeah.
Mean reverting up and leaders mean reverting down. Yeah. So yes, I'm putting them in the same category.
Makes
All right.
sense.
I mean, just people don't think of them in the same way, which is why
I'm okay with
That's why most people lose money. Good. Keep thinking the wrong way. It's not our problem.
I got you, bro.
Wait, you got me?
No, I'm picking up what JC's putting down.
Oh, okay.
Talking about laggards, price action.
All right.
Laggards catching up, leaders catching down. Isn't that emblematic of a messy market? Isn't that like normal?
Not all the leaders catching down though.
All right.
A lot of them did.
Fine.
We
Markets
had a 3-month period where everything was down or sideways. We are likely out of that, by the way. And if we are, you're going to see new highs in financials and in industrials. Right?
Giddy up. Let's go. That's end the show right there, Spencer. End the show before we can
End the show right now. That's where we're going to end our show. Thanks to Michael Nauss. Welcome back, Henry. Thanks, Alfonso. Thanks, Louis. Hey, we got a new episode of Off the Charts coming up noon today, 2 hours from now. Steve and Sean spoke with Brian Lund about his trading and how he looks at markets. That'll be coming up. That'll be a live premiere at noon on the channel. Smash the like. Go make some money. Have a good weekend. We'll see you Monday.
Drink Cornas.
Bye, guys.
I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground in the